what's the most important thing? Your past, your present, or your future? And I see that it's easy for people to be stuck in the past for good reasons and for bad reasons. The good ways are something that 80s and 90s babies usually do is reminisce and have good memories about the time before the internet. The time where you used to go outside, there was absolutely nothing to do. And then in the same breath, there was a lot to do. And since there was nothing to do in the home, we just stayed outside, literally we had to get dragged back into the house. Like that was like our punishment is being stuck in the house. Now it's the opposite. Punishment is getting kicked out. Your punishment is your mom or your parents telling you, get out the house. Go run around the block or something. And then a bad way of being stuck in the past are the popular kids in high school. They may feel like that was the peak of their life. It is hard to get that same feeling that everything was going right, people loved you, you didn't really have bills, you did have relationships, but you was a kid. You felt like you had a lot of life. And I think everybody has that time in their life where everything kind of goes right and there's not really too many things going wrong. And some people do have that time, but they don't appreciate it when it's going on. They only think about it when they get older. But another bad way to being stuck in the past, the obvious one, in my opinion, is trauma. That childhood trauma can keep you in the past for decades. And there's all types of traumas. Emotional abuse, which is constant criticism, humiliation, or insults. Being told that you're worthless and a burden. Imagine being told by your parents and the people that are supposed to love you that you're worthless and you're a burden and that you was an accident. That is a scar that might never heal. Then there's physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional neglect. And I feel like the most common one is growing up in a dysfunctional family. Now, I will always believe that there's no such thing as a normal family. It's too much things that can go wrong, too many situations. And one of my traumas was dysfunctional family. And I think my biggest issue was too many siblings, too many kids running around. I really truly believe one, two, at the most three kids is enough. Too many kids is an issue because what happens is each kid has time that they need for themselves. There's soccer practice, basketball practice, attention that they need, energy that they need. We all know kids are wild when they're young and they got all type of energy, and you have that energy plus you have to give energy to yourself. But my whole point with the trauma thing is you shouldn't suppress. Okay, you should try to work those things out because those traumas will follow you all the way into the present, until right now. And that is the question. Is your present most important? Because technically, the past is gone and you don't know if you're even going to have a future. You can be gone tomorrow. So should you live in the moment? Because there's good ways of dealing with the present and there's bad ways. The good ways are being carefree, just enjoying life. Put the camera down, get off the internet and just go outside and ground, take the shoes off and just walk on grass. Stuff like that will give you a certain type of energy that nothing else will. A certain type of dopamine that you will not get from most things. But then there's a downside of living in the present, which is not, since you don't really care about the future, you're probably not going to be serious about your health. You're probably going to eat whatever, do whatever. And I know you're supposed to take chances in life. You're supposed to take huge risks because you only live once. But if you constantly do it because you're only living in the present and you're only thinking about the present, that's not good either. Especially with saving money. You're blowing money fast because you're like, you can't take it with you. You listen to Drake when he say YOLO. It's YOLO for him because he's rich. So that's why he can say that. But for us, that most of us live paycheck to paycheck, it's probably not a good idea to just be blowing money just as fast as you get it. And speaking of fast, people be living fast. They just don't care. They just be outside doing whatever, not really thinking about what's next, the future. Yes, it may be boring to a lot of people thinking about what's going on now. They ain't worrying about the past. They're not worrying about now. They're only strictly worrying about what's going to happen next. And technically, that's not a good thing either. That's where anxiety comes from. You're constantly preparing yourself for something that you think is going to happen and it never happens. And you're just still anticipating it. Is that the definition of anxiety? I don't know. But worrying about your future is very important. And most people think about it when it's too late. A lot of our parents, the people that loved us and raised us, were certainly stuck in the past and they passed that trauma down to us, or they was living in the present and they constantly was not really thinking about our future. They weren't worrying about teaching us credit scores and how to move in life so you can relax and not constantly deal with the same problems over and over again, the same financial problems, the same relationship problems. So when you grow up, when your future is right now, you have nothing to show for it because the people that raised you wasn't really worrying about your future. But it's also a scary thought, as I said before with YOLO, you never know what's going to happen. But in my opinion, I look at it as you never know what's going to happen, so you should prepare for it as much as possible by saving money, by having a 401k, by having a good credit score, by taking care of your health, by being a good person, because eventually you won't even be able to take care of yourself. Do you realize that? One day you're not going to be able to move how you want to move or even eat, lift up a spoon. You may need help with that. So it's good to go around giving out that good energy because you may need certain people at a certain time when you get older. And if you're going around being ignorant, moving fast, giving out negative energy because you don't care, the typical thing everybody says, when you get older, people are going to treat you how you treated them, or that good old karma. That may or may not be true. So, what is most important? Your past, your present, or your future? I feel like it's a mixture of things. It's all of them combined because your past, if you don't know your history, you're going to keep repeating it. And you don't want to live too much in the moment because then your future is destroyed. Yeah, you may get lucky, things may fall into place, even though you're outside doing whatever. In the present, you're dealing with a whole bunch of different people and having a whole bunch of babies by different people, and you just don't care because you don't know what's going to happen next. Remember the past, live in the moment, and prepare for the future. That is always what I'm going to do. Because at one point I was too worried about living in the moment. Then at one point I was too worried about my past, living in the past in a negative way. And then as I get older, I may be too focused on the future because I see if I was focused and prepared, I would be in a better situation right now. But who knows when you're in a situation where as life go on, you see people, disappear, are no longer living. You kind of just be like, what am I doing all this for? What is the purpose if I'm not going to be here for a certain amount of time? But the future is good. So you will be able to relax the older you get. You won't have to work harder. You'll work smarter the older you get and relax. Don't you want to relax? Put that in the comments. Tell me which one you think is the most important. Because I may be totally wrong. You may disagree or agree with me. Who knows? And always remember to hit that like button. The older I get, the more I understand that time is priceless. You cannot get it back. I'm starting to be stingy with my time, and it's a good thing because when I was in my 20s, sitting on the porch, hanging out with people all day, not being productive at all, as if I had all the time in the world and time would wait for me. Time don't wait for nobody.